As far as pricing goes for elbow, there's no universal standard like that everybody should charge this particular amount for their elbow. It does vary significantly, guys, very much so significantly. So what I always encourage people to do is before you get an IFA reading from someone, you reach out to them and maybe get their an average, right? Because it's not always going to be exactly what it is. People can't tell you beforehand, number one, what it is going to be if they are doing like the traditional Isheshe based IFA divination. If they're giving you a price beforehand, that's because they've already planned out what offerings that they are going to give, which is not traditional protocol, right? So you definitely want something, you want to get a reading and get the elbow afterwards, right? And I know that can be trying or cumbersome, but maybe some people are open to this. I'm not saying that everybody is, but some people are open to sharing a price range, and that's usually what they'll do. They'll give you a price range of what that looks like and tell you about their particular process, right? But keep in mind, prices can vary so much, and I try to discourage this type of behavior from going from one place to the next when it comes to this. And a person saying, well, this person charged me this over here, or this person does it like this over here. Everybody has their own standard and their own measures. Understand too that when it comes to the price of the sacrifices and offerings, you're not always just paying for that. You're also paying for the service. You're definitely paying for the labor that goes into the process. But what I mean by service is additional follow-up or follow through, because some people do have that. We personally do. We offer a lot of help in the follow-up aspect, because for us, well, traditionally, period, the sacrifices is not just about the act, not just about the ritual work. It's about understanding how it plays out over time. Most of the time, you're going to have some type of dreams or phenomena. It might not be dreams per se, it could be visions or just intuitive nudges afterwards, where you're getting heightened messages from the orishas once you perform the elbow. So in our process specifically, we like to walk through that particular process with people that we work with so that they understand, what's going on, and we try to interpret those messages when they come through the dream state. We also like to follow up and answer different questions that they may have specific to the reading or the elbow thereafter. So this is our process. Again, everybody's process is different. And again, understand that the price of the sacrifices and offerings can vary so much because of this reality, because everybody's process is very much so different. If you have some budgetary constraints or something like that, you can usually complete this in stages. Again, it depends on the person's process. Ours is that we do offer you the opportunity to complete it over time. We strongly suggest that you do it as soon as possible, because that's another question that often comes up. When should I complete my elbow? How much time do I have? Start on it, right? If you can't complete everything, ask about, if you're working with somebody, definitely if you're working with us at our temple, ask, what are the most important ones that I need to do right now? Get started on that process. Once you do, you can work through it over time and it's still applicable. If you don't start working on it, especially within the first 17 days, then you're going to have to get another reading after that. But if you do start working on it within that 17-day window, then you can still follow up and finish it later on, because the orishas are seeing your effort and they know that you are working through that process. Again, if you want the results that are outlined from the reading, it's best to do it all, right? But we understand, that's how it goes sometimes with people's circumstances. It just really and truly depends. You should do it as soon as possible, for sure. And that's another question. Like, when should I do it? As soon as possible. If you do it that same day, that would be great. Okay. So that's the standard, traditional process is to go ahead and complete it. If you're unsure whether you're ready for a full reading or not, a spiritual investigation, like just asking basic questions instead of getting a full on do pull for you, asking, I won't say basic questions, but specific questions or direct questions, yes or no questions that can be helpful sometimes whenever you're not ready for a the full on elbow, because the full reading is going to pull an Odu. And the Odu is definitely going to bring forth the sacrifices and the offerings that you need. And usually they can range from 4 to 6, even so more sometimes Orishas. It can include other prescriptions like a kosher, which is spiritual medicine, and even so other steps and things that you might even have to do on your own that is not even part of the ritual process in terms of giving sacrifices and offerings. So, and that can range too. Like you may have something that you need to do, and it may or may not cost. Some of it is just, like physical effort that you have to exert, but I should say it may or may not cost something financially. It could still cost you that effort, that time, or that energy. We don't know what's going to come up, so it's best for you to be prepared for that reality.